It's your walkout song.
Oh.
Okay, I'm still not able to share, so. Oh, hey, everybody on the screen with all the black screens. I'm just waiting to be the host. Oh, I am the host. Okay. Here we go.
All right.
Okay, so we are just gonna start with intros and talk about how long you've been on the team, maybe how many closed and pending if you're new, or
Sure. My name is Melissa Sanford. I operate out of the Elyria office for our team, the Melissa Sanford Team. Last year I produced 41 units, almost at 8 million. So that was my second year. My first year I did 30 units in 9 months and I did 5.5 million. So
talk about before you came to the team?
before I came to the team, I was solo, struggled for 3 years. I didn't know what I was doing. I got licensed. I've always been really passionate about real estate and I just needed to find good tools and systems to figure that out. I had the motivation and drive. I just didn't have any systems or know really what to do. So once I joined a team, I mean, it was kind of game over from there. I just kind of ran with it, so.
I'm Lance Graham. I'm with the Melissa Sanford Team out of the Worcester office since 23 years now. So.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I joined the team last August, I think. And yeah, what was the other thing?
How many pending?
Oh,
It's maybe close since
13, I think.
Closed and pending?
Since August, yeah.
And anything else? It's your birthday month?
Oh, it's my birthday. Oh, tomorrow. So.
Yeah, you're good. I am Melissa. I've been doing this for 10 years this year. I'm really tired. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. And so the class that we had earlier this morning, Aaron runs his business super organically. And so when I moved to Ohio 12 years ago, this is really awkward because I can't see over this. So I'm going to move it so I can see everybody's faces. When I moved to Ohio 12 years ago, I knew the person that I moved here with and my 12-year-old son. And so I started my business buying $137 worth of Zillow leads in Orville. And it's how I met the great Ken Weaver and his lovely wife, Lori, and open houses. So those two places is where I got most of my business. And I spend a little bit more than $137 a month on Zillow leads now, but I still buy them. I'm gonna have to plug in my computer before it dies. Hopefully I brought my charger. Okay. All right, we're gonna start with a quiz. I think if this thing will work. Okay. You guys can go ahead and write down your answers. Hopefully this works. I have music. All right. You guys don't have to answer. Well, yeah, go ahead and give some of your answers. We're going to answer them in the slides to come, but what do you got, new guy? Forgot your name. What was your name?
First day.
I know.
Justin.
Justin?
Yep. I got 7 days and 4 times.
7 days and 4 times. All right. You are in for a treat.
6 months and 15 times.
Okay. Ken?
I'd say, incubation probably between 7 months and 12, which is under 12 months, and probably about 15 to 20.
Okay. Depends on how much they're drinking, right?
If they're with me, yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, why is that playing that again? I didn't want that to happen. Okay, we're on the right slide. So The average incubation rate for online real estate leads is anywhere from 6 to 24 months. And I am all about numbers. And so I wanted to share mine, Lance and Alyssa K's numbers with you. And Michaela's too new to have a bunch of statistics, so I didn't bring hers. And then just so you guys know, I don't work with many buyers, and the ones that I do are typically because it's like a referral source and they're making me work with the buyer, or it's like my mom. And so I'm not going to work with my mom until she's ready to buy a house, right? And so on the left here, it's number of days. And so 7 is way out of.
Yeah, I'll share.
Changing things.
I mainly work with buyers, and they mainly are online leads. And so if I take a call today, I probably will not close that sale, especially with inventory, for about maybe 2 to 3 months.
So can you explain to me exactly what the question is? Like, as far as,
They're talking about how many days does it take to convert that initial lead that you got to a closed sale?
okay,
So from the day that you actually talk to that person versus the day that you actually will get paid after closing, takes
Okay.
anywhere from 6 to 24 months.
okay.
That's a national average, but I'm saying that typically what I'm experiencing in my market, which is a little bit up north, just because of low inventory that's going on right now, it's basically 2 to 3 months. And that's working heavy with buyers. I mean, I do this full time. I'm showing them, houses, probably like 5 houses a week, depending on what we have to do. So that's, I'm pretty buyer heavy right now, in the market, so.
Thanks.
Mhm.
This is a statistic online. It says we'll do so after the 6th follow-up attempt. I think that this number is a lot higher now. Even though this was a recent statistic, I think it's 8 to 12, I would say. Lance, I would like you to share your story about Lori.
Oh, yeah. So Lori came in, this was a couple of years ago, through an online lead source, Homelight, I believe. She called me after the call. She told me what she was looking for in a home. I said, great, I'm gonna set you up on an MLS search. You'll get a bunch of emails or with homes on them. Just text me the addresses of the ones you want to see, and we'll go look at them. She goes, well, that kind of sounds like I'm doing all the work. Like, I thought you would just line houses up and go show them to me. It's like, well, I don't know what you're gonna like and what you're not gonna like, so just go through the pictures and well, she didn't like the idea of that. So after 4 to 6 months, she finally called me and asked me to show her some houses, so I did. And after about the 4th or 5th house, she told me that she had gone through 4 agents in that time, that she was having show her homes that I was sending her. But I kept at it. I showed her somewhere between 40 and 60 houses and wrote over a dozen offers for her. And we finally closed the transaction. I still communicate with her regularly. She talks to me all the time, actually, whenever anything goes wrong with her house. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, it was a very, very long process. She had no idea how anything worked. And that's why the confusion kind of started at the beginning. But I stuck with it, kept communicating with her. I could have shut her MLS search off and, stop sending her houses, but I didn't, and it panned out.
So this was what our business looked like in 2022. Our online leads and organic. So we're pretty close to being 50-50. And I bet you guys are going to want to know where all the online leads came from, right? The sources? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell you.
I
Yeah.
actually just have a question, like I think about, for online lead sources, somebody coming in from like Zillow or Realtor that they want to see a house right now versus, I don't know what all the other online lead sources might be, but I would think there's a difference there when you ask about how much time it takes for them to convert.
Correct. Yeah, I actually would like to comment on that because mainly when I take those calls, that person wants to see that house now. So I do set that appointment and I do meet them as quickly as possible, but I set the expectation that if they're not gonna be willing to go through that approval process, then I don't think this is gonna work. And if they can't qualify, then we're not gonna go house shopping when we don't know how much we actually have in our wallet. So my analogy that I always say to people, we don't go to the grocery store without your wallet, right? So why are you looking at houses when you don't even know how much money you have in your wallet? So that kind of like sticks a light bulb. They're like, oh, I thought I could just buy this house right now. People don't understand that. So I'm really huge on just educating them during that first appointment. But yes, they call and they want to see that house Saturday at 3. I'm gonna show them that house. After that, it's up to them because I've already proven that I'm willing to do that for you. You need to show me that you are willing to take the next step too.
Yeah, we have that coming up on a little bit later slide. The incubation period is for closed sales. So like our stats are based on the closed sales. And then we mark when that lead came in.
But is there still a difference, I guess, I'm just so clear, like somebody who's responding specifically because they want to see a house and they're actually looking at houses versus, I don't know, I guess, I don't know what all the other ones are, but maybe some people, if you're advertising as a team or something like that, you're putting yourself out there in a different way. And so somebody starts following you and you start interacting with somebody, but they're not actually ready to buy or sell right now. I guess I'm thinking that would be 2 different, but maybe not,
Yes.
maybe.
It's all depending on that person's situation. So I will have a consultation with them, really. I mean, I've worked with someone for 2 years before I closed that sale. Did I follow up consistently? Yeah. Did I follow up probably every month? No. It's probably maybe every 3-6 months. They have like a credit.
I think what you're asking is, do the different lead sources have a different incubation period?
Right, and I
More or
absolutely
less.
think they do, but I guess I'm trying to draw that out.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the demographic of people. So many people know Zillow because it's Zillow, you know, they kind of monopolize the market when it comes to online. When someone wants to look at houses, they go on Zillow. There's a lot of different ones, and some of the more not so popular lead sources are more of the older generation of people that are watching daytime television and seeing like the home light commercials and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So there is a difference in the lead sources and how quickly they'll turn into a closed direct. And I think it's just mostly where they're the more technology driven, internet focused people, the younger groups of people are the ones that are coming in on Realtor or Zillow opposed to some of the other people there.
They're quicker to respond, yes, on those ones. As far as OpCity and Realtor, I think OpCity and Zillow are the quickest ones. HomeLight is definitely a lot slower. I think that's like the older generation. And then the My Agent Finder and Ideal Agent, those ones to me, the leads that I receive from there, I benefit more of the Ideal Agent. The My Agent Finders is, I think, it's very similar to HomeLight, so it's a little bit more of like a nurture, in my opinion. My experience.
And
So
those
don't you
have-
think it's the monthly fee sites that cost you a crap ton of money every month are the ones that have the live transfers and then they're gonna be quicker to respond versus the referral type sources? Those are the more just got online, just started looking.
I mean, absolutely. And I'll just share this with you. This blue piece of pie cost us $6,000 a month.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
So if you want to spend $6,000 a month and have the shorter incubation period, go ahead. I mean, yeah.
When you can do that,
Yeah.
then you do that,
Mhm.
right?
And I started at $137 a month. And the goal is always to not feed the devil, right? And so,
Zillow's the devil.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Or me, however you want to look at it, but yeah. Yes, Zillow is the devil, so, and, you know, it's also like seeing the opportunities or what the opportunities can turn into, right? Like there's so many times, like sometimes our team is running on fumes or somebody's on vacation and we're just short on people. And like, we try to give leads to people and they don't want them because they think it's too low dollar or they think it's too far away or they think this or that. But Alyssa can share the story about Namir and what it looked like when he came in and kind of what that looks like now for you.
Yeah, I just think with online leads, everyone thinks that it's gonna be like a little bit easier in general, obviously. But I mean, I was not getting high dollar online leads. I was still selling $50,000, $80,000 houses. It wasn't really about the money, it was about making that connection. And so Namir, my favorite client, he's an investor client. I specialize in investors. He came in wanting to purchase a $50,000 house, all cash, no inspections, wanted to put an offer in that day. I have now sold him 10 properties in the last 16 months. So he is definitely one of my repeat clients that I have. So I think that sometimes just because, some people just want to see, a $50,000 house, we all know that we're not going to make that much money on that, but the volume is there. It's paid, what it's worth it to me. So, and I have a great relationship with him. I know his wife, I know his kids. I mean, he's going to use me for all of his real estate needs. He's referred me to other of his family members that are out of state. So, I mean, we're in a relationship business. So when you're purchasing a lead, you're purchasing a relationship. You're not purchasing a purchase price. And I think that people need to understand that there's a huge difference there. So if you're just about the money, then, it's gonna be a short game for you. So.
The national average conversion rate for online leads is between 2 and 3%. However, NAR disclosed that they think the rate is actually closer to 0.4 to 1.2%. This was our agent performance on our Zillow for April, 27.4% conversion rate. And so I know you guys don't know this about me, but I check this number about 6 times a day. I check all of our Zillow metrics about 6 times a day, our answer rate, everything, even though they say it doesn't change daily, it does. And then how did we do that? So we're going to kind of get into that right now. How do you look online? So I'm going to try to do this where you can't see who the other agent is, but you might see, or maybe you'll figure it out. I don't know, but I just pulled it up online. So this is in our, if you're from Worcester. So you guys can see this, right? I just want you guys to go ahead and read this. Yep. This is somebody's Zillow. And then you guys can let me know when you're done. Guys good with that? And then last review, October of 22. I'm just kind of going fast there. If you haven't figured it out by now, you probably can. And then just want you guys to see what mine says.
Can you make it bigger like that?
You're gonna zoom in on it with your phone and read it.
That's what I do. Speaking about rural last
So you guys got that. So I really didn't say much about like provide my clients with the latest market information and industry knowledge. They believe in the expertise that I provide, my powerful commitment to getting the job done, professional track record with high ethical standards, blah, 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 blah. I mean, this just says why I love Wayne County, what I do in my free time, what I do for veterans. I like my dog. This guy right here got me 5 clients last year. They're like, we picked you because of your dog. And I'm like, that's awesome. He does. I'm like every morning our dogs bark. I'm like, oh, there goes Ken. Our last review on our page was
Yesterday.
2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, 2 days.
Today's the 31st. I mean, we do this. We have reviews every month. And so I just challenge you to see what you look like online. You guys on the Zoom, let me know if you're back to the slideshow. So how do you look online? Speed to lead. So we have a 5-minute rule on our team, and I would assume that's probably part of our success with our conversion. And if you can't get to the lead in 5 minutes, like, you're supposed to let the person know that gave you the lead, even if it's like, hey, Mr. Buyer, I understand you want to see 123 Main Street. I'm driving right now. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like, even a response is a response, right? And so we tell people we're driving all the time, even though we're not driving. If somebody tried to trick us, they're always going to find out that we're driving. And how you look online, if you're a new agent and you're just starting out and you haven't sold a house, I have probably 20 email addresses that I made up through Google, and I've reviewed myself, and I sold my house or myself about 20 houses just so I could give myself fake reviews. Just so you know, it works. You just go on, make a fake email, go ahead and make yourself a fake Zillow profile, or you could ask your friends and family who are probably already on Zillow, because everybody, I swear, has a Zillow profile. Or realtor.com, whatever one you guys like, but you just want to make sure that you look good online. And you want to set yourself apart from the competition. You want to be professional and authentic, and that's why I have that picture of myself and my dog. Like, when I show up, I mean business and I'm professional, but I also am a human being. And I think that I do a good job communicating that to people. Lance does a really good job with that, communicating that to people. Sometimes he shows up on his Harley. I think Alyssa obviously does a good job, and Michaela too. Every other agent out there is going to show up with 2 pieces of paper in their hand. They're going to have the consumer guide and they're going to have an MLS sheet, right? You guys probably have done that too. Like, I'm going to encourage you to show up and be an educator and take this a little bit serious, right? Because the competition is getting tougher and you guys are going to need to be remembered, right? You don't want to be, everybody's going to show up in a blazer. Everybody's car is going to be nice and clean on the outside and look like a hoarder's car on the inside. You might open the door and trash falls out. I don't know. But I think what you give people matters. And so we have our buyers packets made up. So we make 50 up at a time, grab and go. We have our sponsors help pay for these, our partners help pay for these. And I think how you present to people matters, and not everybody's where we're at. And so it's okay if you guys can't do this. Zarice goes to Staples and gets black folders and red folders. You still do this? And you put like a sticker with your logo on the front, right? And then he puts the information on the inside. And so I think it's just important, like you'll see Alyssa's here. Like, she has a little portion about her, right? As a human being, not, I sold 500 houses last year and I'm ethical and I'm this and I'm that. It's all about her. It's what her clients say. On the back, it talks like what our team does in the community and all that stuff. And so the converting of online leads, or the converting of leads, is about the whole package, right? It's not just about how you answer the phone. And so I am gonna pass this out. Are you okay if I pass
Yeah,
this out?
absolutely. And I just want to talk a little bit about how I go about my presentation with this. So when I'm viewing the packet with them, I touch on this first, is how long I've been licensed, how long I've been doing this. I do know the area. I breeze over it very, very quickly. Next, I'm stepping into lending. I mean, that's the very next thing. I do not go line for line with this. But the biggest thing of just being able to give this to someone after that first appointment is, even though people are wanting everything to be digital, they like to physically have something tangible in their hands. And it's something that they can review. My card is in there, you know, my pictures are in there. And it talks a little bit about me, so you guys can go ahead and preview all of that. We just have like a step-by-step home buying process as well in there that I go through. I said the first thing that you need to do is meet an agent. The second thing that you need to do is get connected with a lender before we even start shopping around and before we even start placing offers. So it walks them through the entire process. I break that down. I said, if you're gonna be doing that today, this process could take 45 days or it could take 6 months, depending on how quickly you want to move. But it all depends on how much, you know, we're here at your disposal anytime. But if you are not willing to be that committed to this process, then it's probably going to be a little bit longer. So people really like that, honestly. They always ask for a card. Even funny enough, they have my email, they have my phone number. I've already talked to them probably 5 times before I meet them at the house. Oh, but do you have a card? So it's just funny how people still really go to those older tendencies. Everyone's like, oh, I have a virtual card, because I have that too for like the younger generation, but people like to physically take something home with them. Sometimes we'll even bring them back to the property and inspections. We have like a note page at some point if they want to write notes. I mean, it really just kind of depends. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought it was kind of a waste of paper, in my opinion, because not that many people actually did it, but some people like to get really involved in the process and they will take that with them. So I think it just adds a really good touch, and it shows that, hey, yes, we are willing to give to you, but you know, we also need something in return as well. So.
And so we, when we take a call for an online lead, like, so if it's an incoming call or an outgoing, like however we just set the appointment, and Gina probably will kick me in the shin for this, but we pretty much set the appointment, we get their name, we get their phone number, and we meet them there. We do our whole buyer consult and the ALM, the LP Mama, we do everything else there. And I think that also plays into our success. So we give everybody a freebie, like Alyssa said earlier, like we give them one free showing, one free whatever. Because we feel like that if we can get in front of them or belly to belly with them, we can convert them easier. And if they can't buy, they probably know somebody who can, right? And so
you'd be surprised to know, I always tell our group, go for the appointment first. If you can keep them on the phone to talk about LP Mama, that's great, but if they want to see the house, go for the appointment first, and then you can roll with that later, for sure.
Yeah, I ask really basic questions. My favorite go-to question is, where are you at in your home buying process? Be quiet, don't say anything, let them talk to you. Have they met with another agent already? Have they already looked at 6 different houses? I mean, that's kind of how I get a feel for that. And then obviously in person is when I kind of drill them a little bit more about, you know, where you guys actually are, how motivated are you, you know, how long do you think this process will take you? How much time do you actually need to move? Are you in a lease? You know, all of those questions that kind of play a part in it, so.
I have a question. If the lead comes through and it's like under contract already, but they're still allowing showings, do you like say that, or do you still leave them there and then?
If it's under contract allow showings, I will show them that house, but I
still
do,
go and-
but I tell them, just so you know, the only offer that you are allowed to place on this house is a secondary offer. That does not guarantee that you even have a chance.
So
at
you
this
don't
house.
tell them that until you get there?
No, I do tell them that
You
up
tell
front, yeah, because I think that's a little misleading. If
Yeah.
they had, normally, when a lead comes in, they've been looking at 8 different houses, so I'm gonna be like, okay, hey, this one's already under contract, and you kind of missed the opportunity to place an offer, we can still go and see it. But typically, I try and only show one house, for one person I'm just now meeting, I don't try and schedule 2 or 3. So I will just find another house that fits those needs, or just consistently follow up with them until something else comes in the market, because inventory is not on our sides right now.
What I wouldn't do though, is I wouldn't tell the buyer that there's already offers before we get to the showing, because sometimes then they want to cancel.
Yeah.
So keep that information to yourself,
Yeah.
get in the house, they're much more invested once they've seen it.
Mm.
The reason why I like to get face to face with people, even if, you know, you're never sure when you get someone on the phone, but when I get to a house and it's someone I've never met before and I'm going through that house with them, that's when I start building that relationship. And I think one of the things that helps me a lot is I know a lot about house, how they're built, how they function, what to look for. And so many times people are like, oh God, I'm glad you noticed that, or, you know, I had no idea what that was even for. So then they understand that I'm more than a real estate agent. I understand the inner workings of the house and how it's built and how it functions and what to look out for and all those sort of things. And it gives them a sense of peace, because they may not you know, they have no idea what to look out for in a house, what could be a potential issue. And, that goes a long way for me.
And I think, Alyssa touched on this a little bit. A good lender partner is key, with when you guys need to burn and turn your online leads. And so somebody that can grind when you guys need to grind, because sometimes you guys go meet these leads at a house and next thing you know, you're in multiple offers and you need to have an offer in within 2 hours. You know, if you guys are purchasing online leads, you might need a lender partner who's going to help pay for those leads. But just having somebody that you know, like, and trust is huge. There's nothing worse than sending your leads to a lender and finding out that they're sending them to somebody else. And then use your CRM to do the work for you. So whether you're using Boomtown or Command, is anybody using anything besides those two? Most of those can do a lot of the work for you. But there's things that you have to do too, right? And if you're not going to do it, it's not going to be beneficial to you. This was a slide from Family Reunion. And so when buyers are looking for an agent, these are the most important factors buyers are looking for. So experience, honest, trustworthy, reputation, caring, good listener, blah, blah, blah. The reason that I put this here, the experience and the honest and trustworthy. And so if you're a year or less in the business, raise your hand. Okay. And so you don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find everything, right? And so when you have your MLS printout and somebody's like, how much are the taxes? You just need to know where to look on the paper, right? Because if you're out showing 10 houses in a day, I still can't remember all the taxes for each house. If somebody wants to know how many square feet, you're not going to remember, but if you know where it is on the paper, it's going to be easy for you. And that's all that they're going to care about, right? They're not going to care that you know every single thing. They're just going to care that you have the answer at their disposal, right? They're not going to care that you know if the basement ever flooded. They're just going to care that you maybe already emailed them all the disclosures to all the showings that they're going to see for the day because you care about the environment. You didn't want to print them all out. And so, oh, I already emailed those to you this morning. And so if you like this house, you can go ahead and look through those, right? And so you can pretend to be smarter than you really are if you want to, and then just be honest and trustworthy. And I think on the previous slide, it's like, always tell them what's coming next or what they can expect from you next, and do what you say you're going to do. And if you're anything like me, I forget a lot of stuff. And so I have like 12 alarms that go off throughout the days to remind me to do the things that I said I was going to do. Do you guys have anything with that? Cool. 10 days of pain is what our CRM calls when we get a new lead in. If it's a nurture lead, it just automatically puts them on a 10 days of pain. If it is like if we take a call and then the lead kind of ghosts us, we put them back onto the 10 days of pain. Our CRM has a listing alert and a market report. I'm sure Boomtown has the same kind of thing. We have a long-term nurture plan for somebody that kind of ghosts us, and then like follow up. And Michaela has a really cool story about one of her leads with follow-up. So I'll let you share that.
Yeah, so I had met this guy at an open house, and now that I know him, I don't think he did it on purpose, but he left the wrong number on the sign-in sheet. So when I tried to call him, like immediately, it was some random guy that I obviously had never met. But then I looked him up on Forewarn to get his real number, and then I was able to call him, he didn't answer the first few times I called him, and I texted him, no response, nothing. But I started to kind of like, maybe I should just forget about this guy, but I think I ended up texting him like one more time, still no response. And then like a week goes by and he ended up calling me, and he was my very first buyer that I ever started working with. And then he was my second sale. 5 months later, I think I ended up working with him for 5 months until we found his house. But yeah, it was crickets for weeks. And then all of a sudden he called me back, and
Do you know how many times you actually followed up with him?
I think it was 4 or 5 over the span of 2 months. I think it took for him.
But you sold a house, you brought a listing in, and you
Yeah,
sold
that's
that.
true. So I sold him his house, and then I ended up getting to represent him in selling his property and representing the buyer who bought his property. So I got 3 sales from
An open house lead.
an open house lead that wouldn't respond to me for like 2 months. So
And those ones are free.
yeah, exactly. It was,
Yeah.
yeah. So even if they leave wrong numbers, figure out how to get the real number.
Did you ever ask him about that?
No, I never did, just because I was like, I felt like he just had sloppy handwriting.
Oh, okay.
I don't know though.
Look down the bar, got the wrong number.
She didn't want to admit she was looking him up.
Well, that's the other
Find
thing.
my real number then.
That's it too. I didn't want to like out myself on how desperate I was at the time.
Wrong number. So some of the complaints or roadblocks or drunk monkeys, for anybody that's been to Bold, that we hear all the time is like, somebody gave me the wrong number. Like, I guarantee you, if you thought your boyfriend or girlfriend was cheating on you, you'd be able to find that other person's number, right? Like, I guarantee you'd be able to find that number. So you can find a buyer's number, right? We have Forewarn, we have Facebook, we have Google, we have all the things. I think that you guys could find the number. We have Forewarn, like we use Forewarn all the time for that. Nobody ever answers or calls me back. You're right, but how many times have you tried? And if you stop trying, somebody else is going to be there to pick up where you left off, right? So you're either going to keep the lead or somebody else is going to get the lead. They're going to go to some other site and they're going to get connected to a whole different agent.
We'll say stop, right? Like, don't we all get text messages from someone trying to sell us medical insurance like 20 times a day and they just report junk all day long? So if I didn't want to be reached out to, I would eventually just say, please stop.
Via text,
Right.
Exactly.
then you just call and email them.
Right.
Yep.
So like they can they can unsubscribe to emails if they didn't want you sending them stuff, they can unsubscribe to text. And they can say, answer the phone and say, please stop calling me. And if they don't do that, like, it's fair game. They
Mhm.
gave you their number in most
Exactly.
cases. Why would they give you a right phone number if they didn't expect for you to call? So a lot of the excuses, and we'll just say what it is, it's excuses that I hear a lot from our Boomtown group in particular, is it's all bad leads and no one ever answers the phone, or they don't call me back, or they are wrong names and phone numbers. But again, they're not all that. And the ones that did give you the right name and phone number could have given you a wrong phone number. So they expect to be called. And I don't know about you guys, when I'm buying something and I'm interested, I will respond when I'm actually ready to buy.
Right.
So
Mhm.
other people buy like that too. So
Mhm.
that's why, like in her case with the open house guy, he responded when he was ready. And like you said, he's gonna respond to somebody. It may as well be you.
Mhm.
Whoever's consistently following
But
up.
people give up too
Yeah.
soon. They
They
just
do.
give up too soon. And I feel like I'm being pushy. Well, I guess you got in the wrong business because we are salespeople. And if you have the right scripts, it's not pushy. We're just being present and we're coming from a place of helping people. It's not pushy.
Mhm.
And I heard an example of that just the other day. We had I think it was a effective agent lead come in, and it's one of those lead sources that they just blast that person's information out to a ton of different agents, and whoever gets a hold of them first, gets hold of them first.
Sure.
And I wasn't first. And the guy let me know, I've already spoken to someone, they're gonna be sending me some houses, blah, 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 blah. Okay, followed up with him the next day. hey, did that person send you those houses? And, well, no, they didn't. Would you like me to? Well, I'm gonna wait and see. I'm sure she's getting to it. The next day, followed up again. I called him and he's like, nope, I still haven't heard hide nor hair from this person. Would you like to send me some houses? Absolutely. And I set up a whole bunch of showings. They were coming up from North Carolina, and just because I followed up,
How's
even
that
after being
pushy?
told.
You know, like that's not pushy, you were just being there to help them when they need it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he thanked me for that.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I've won several that way too. They say they have another agent, that's fine. Do you mind if I still follow up with you for the next 5 days in a row? Guarantee you, I'm gonna be texting you way more than the other agent is when their business, so. It's really simple to do. We also set them up as going back to, nobody answers, calls me back. I mean, email. I mean, I know that not that many people probably check it daily, but not only do we do weekly, we could do bi-weekly, we could do monthly. So they have multiple different reports that we can send them as well if they're not super responsive on the phone. Typically, I don't get people like on the phone anymore unless they physically want to go see a property. It's all text, it's all email. And it's just really staying on top of the tasks that you're setting for that, lead.
They already have an agent where that one was last, but because we just talked about it, like, do you know how many houses I've sold to people that told me they have an agent? Like, somebody's telling them to say that, right? So you have to be respectful if they actually do have an agent. But like Alyssa said, is it okay if I still follow up with you? Like, is it okay if I check in a week? Because chances are, like, even if they have an agent, like their agent isn't going to do as good a job as you guys are because we're trained better and because we do a better job, right? Like, we're the elite agents.
When you talk about the old leads,
Yeah. I mean,
if our incubation period is nearly 24 months, how is that an old lead, right?
right. And you have to start somewhere. So if you start today and the incubation period is 6 to 24 months, if you start today and you add a lead every single day, like eventually, right? Like, I was going to say, are they old people or like,
No, I
We
mean,
get a lot of, these leads have been in the system for 8 months.
well, 8 months
So-
from now, you're gonna still need
Well,
money.
not that, I think this, why not target the old leads first, because that would mean that they're ready to buy now.
They're
versus
closer.
the person, like,
Mhm.
to caress, yeah.
mhm.
With that, Melissa, when I look at, I keep my old leads, I put them where they're at, and I target like every couple, 3 months, I'll call them, because maybe it was a credit issue they had to work on, and just closed one, it took 21 months. But I call them saying, hey, how are you guys doing? And it's easy to get back on that, and they appreciate when you call them that you haven't forgotten them. And that's why taking notes a little bit about them and stuff, and using that when you're dialoguing is huge.
Mhm.
That you can live off of that if you needed to, because
that's why we keep really good notes in our CRM.
Absolutely.
When we do communicate with a client, leave notes, if it's a phone call, the text messages are gonna be there, but the phone calls aren't.
I still need to get my Apple Post-its into the CRM.
I get hung up on all the time. I've been doing this for 10 years and I've never been hung up on. So if anybody in this room is getting hung up on, I'm going to say that your scripts aren't polished enough. Like, I don't think I've ever been hung up on. And if I ever was hung up on, like, I probably would call back and like sing a song to their voicemail, like a really funny song or
No, or
something.
just say, oh, I think we've been disconnected. I mean, that's happened to me before too. So, and I think at the end of the day, you don't want to sound scripted. It needs to be organic. It needs to sound natural. You're trying to build a relationship. I mean, I don't even introduce myself as a realtor or Keller Williams. Hey, it's Alyssa. How you doing, John? I mean, you want to just get to know that person a little bit, then they feel more relaxed. And they don't feel like you're, jumping in to figure out their situation.
What was that saying? A good agent polishes or practices until they get it right. A great agent practices until they can't get it wrong.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've personally been hung up on, especially with only being licensed for 5 years. I mean, it's so sad where I started. So anyone who is struggling with that was me, okay? It's taken me a really long time to kind of understand and figure out what people want and to figure out this industry. I mean, it's changed so much ever since I started in 2018, so.
One of my favorite things to hear when I take an online lead call is, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's the sweetest sentence I can hear out of someone. Because then I can just take the wheel and guide them through that process and make it smooth and easy, because they're already nervous and apprehensive. They think home buying is one of the most difficult processes in the world, and it can be with the wrong agent, but with the right agent, it can be a very smooth and painless transaction for them. And so when I get those calls that come in, they're like, I have no idea where to start. Great, I'm gonna get you in touch with my lender. That's the first thing we're gonna do, right? Get that objection out of the way and just guide them through that process, and it works.
And keep the ball in your court. Like, don't be like, here's my lender's number, just give them a call whenever you're free. Like, hey, I'm gonna have, our lender's name is Benny. I'm gonna have Benny reach out to you. What's a good time? You know, like you always want to keep the ball in your court, or I just group message like the lead and the lender. Like, hey, Benny, meet Joe. Joe wants to buy a house and he has no idea what he's doing. I told him he needs to start with pre-approval. Hopefully you guys can connect and find a good time that's convenient to talk for both of you or whatever. So you always want to keep the ball in your court, and you always want to let them know what's going to happen next, because they don't have a clue. And in case you didn't know, selling real estate is nothing like it is on HGTV, like nothing like that. So, and sometimes that's what the borrowers think too, the buyers, you know, they're like, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to see 3 houses. We're going to put an offer in and Alyssa's going to get it for us and we're going to get it accepted. And it's not like that at all. No one is ever serious about buying or selling. I mean, there's a lot of houses that transfer every day. So no one is ever serious about buying or selling. I think that that's a pretty, I mean,
That's a weak excuse.
there's problems and solutions. And so like, are you going to go on the road with the problems, or are you going to be focused on the solutions? Right. And if you're always going to go down this road with the problems, you're either in the wrong business or you're going to need to spend $5,000 a month on leads. Right. Like, so choose your battles. Like, and you know, how many houses do you want to sell a month so that you can make money? And maybe you just need to jump in a little deeper with the leads. Like, does anybody love cold calling? Does anybody love picking up the phone, calling random strangers, being like, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy, sell, or invest in? Like, nobody loves it, right? But do you love making money? Because sometimes that's what you have to do to make money. And I know like we all love making money. So let me see if I can move these people over. Who has questions? Who has objections that they hear that they think that we can overcome? Who has anything for us?
Can you just tell us a little bit about your process? So let's just in particular talk about Zillow leads. The lead comes in, what's the next step and kind of what do you do with them? Let's just say they weren't wanting to see a house. What kind of process do you guys have getting them into your system, and you know, what does that look like?
Well, I pick their brain when, if they're calling in and they just have a couple of questions, but they are in the market, I'm gonna pick their brain and find out what they're looking for, and they're getting set up on a listing alert or MLS search and educating them. If any of the houses that I sent you like, call me, right? Because it's so many people will talk to one agent on Zillow, then they'll get back on Zillow the next day and get connected with a different agent and a different agent. Just let them know and educate them that if you have any questions at all, I'm the person you want to talk to.
And then you set them up in your own search and then.
Yeah,
you put
so
them in the
our CRM, we have a listing alerts, and then, which I like, but I really like the MLS listing alerts because it's, you can fine tune it so well. Not that you can in our CRM, I really like the MLS search platform and how it works. And I can really get down to specifics that they're looking for in a house, you know, down to the age of the home and everything else about it. Because some people are like, well, I don't want an older house. I don't want anything that was built prior to the 60s, you know, and our CRM, I can't fine tune those things out, but I can in the MLS. So that's a tool that I really use the most for sending people houses. And I know if it's in the MLS and it's active, it's available. They're not looking at a bunch of stuff that they're going to call me and want to see that's been under contract for a week. So.
And then, so like, what are your requirements on the team for how many calls, texts, emails, and how many touches? What does that process look like if it's a lead that hasn't responded yet?
hasn't responded.
Yeah, they've not.
So
responded.
I do 5 days consistently. If I have never met them in person and I just got, someone was looking on our website or someone was just, browsing, whatever, I get a new lead in, 5 days consistently, still haven't heard from them. I don't work with them anymore
Do you
unless they
just put
come
them
back.
in
We give
your
them back to
campaign
our,
then? What do
yeah,
you
we
do?
give them
To our
back to,
ISA.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll kick them.
So they'll do the nurture leads. I'm mostly doing follow-up with ready in 6 to 9 months. People, anything farther than that, I think that's kind of an ISA thing. I mean, obviously, when times are slow, I'm going to be heavy hitting all of my lead gen, even my nurtures that I kept for 2 years because we built such a good relationship. It kind of just depends. If someone's really personable and we, hit it off and I've already met them in person, even though maybe they are having a credit issue and it's gonna take them, 6 more months for them to even get pre-approved. I do follow up monthly. I'm like, hey, are we still on track? What can I do to help? And they're like, oh my gosh, wow, it's so nice to hear from you because they don't want to feel, forgotten about, so.
Yeah, and not everyone has an ISA, and if you don't, that's fine, you're gonna have to be your own ISA, and you are going to set them up on some sort of nurture plan, right?
Mhm.
They may tell you, yeah, I'm just kind of looking around to see what's out there, probably a year out or whatever. So set them up on a listing alert or a market report, just so they can see what's happening in their area, in their community. How many houses they're selling, how much are they selling for, how many days are they on the market, so they can get a feel for that and educate themselves.
So we kind of have hot, ABC, hot, watch, nurture. And so it's once a week, bi-weekly, once a month, and then the nurtures are longer, but I'm sure Boomtown, because Boomtown is a little bit nicer than Brivity. We have long-term nurture plans that we set them up on, and it will tell you what to do and when to do it. And so it will text them for you, right? It will email them for you. And then the only thing you have to do is the actual call when it tells you to call them. And I think Command does that now too, right? Does Command do that now? Yeah.
How do your leads, for a team, because you have multiple people looking for those leads, how do you determine, is it a rotation? How do they know that this is a lead for them, or is it free for all? How do you do that?
So if it's an incoming lead,
Yeah, Zillow, let's say.
so if it's Zillow, the phone rings. So there's certain requirements to be on leads per week. And if somebody meets those requirements, they get to be on the leads for the week. And if they're on the leads for the week, and if they're not in training, if they're a full-time agent, it's just the phone rings and whoever gets the lead gets the lead.
It goes out to everybody.
Yep.
If it's ISA, it's a round robin, or whoever's available.
Lead sources do change just because I'm in a different market than they are. So it just kind of depends, I guess, on where that agent is. Yeah.
But we have it set up so all of our phone rings, because if 2 of us are in appointments and 1 aren't, someone's got to answer that phone. And I'm not the type, I silence my phone when I go into appointments with clients. And, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not answering my phone. I want to be respectful of that person's time, like I want them to be respectful of my time. So we have it set up to where, I guess you could call it a free for all in a sense, but there's a method to the madness. We want to make sure that we don't miss a Zillow call. So, I think we do pretty good. Do we miss any at all?
Not often.
Yeah.
And if we do, there's usually a glitch in the system.
And the rule with that too is if you take a call and the person wants to see a house tomorrow at 3, but you have an appointment in your calendar for tomorrow at 3, you don't say, oh, well, can you do it at 1? Or you send it to another agent who is available at 3 tomorrow, because their needs, they're the client, that's what's most important. And we've never had an issue on our team with lead distribution or anyone feeling like it's unfair, or it's never been an issue for us.
What do you do with that person then who, if it was your lead, you picked it up first, and if somebody else is actually gonna show them, so if you have an agent though, that they follow that person how does that stick
So
with the agent?
If I take a Zillow call and I can't accommodate that lead for that first show, I'm giving that lead to an agent that can. Now, if I've shown that person a few houses and I happen to be out of town, or I've got a bunch of appointments that day and they want to see a house, I'll ask another agent to step in and show that property for me, and we have a pretty great system, I guess you could call it, amongst our team, that we all lean on each other when we meet each other. We all want to see our clients taken care of, so we openly show houses for each other. And if, you know, Alyssa called me and like, Lance, I've got 6 more showings. There's a 2-hour deadline on this property. Will you write this off? Absolutely. And we don't expect compensation for that. Now we do have some forms for like vacation requests and things like that, that specific and underlines compensation, just so that it's not an issue.
Yeah, but like Alyssa can't take a call for a lead that wants to see a house today at 5 and be like, Lance, I can't show this at 5. Can you show it? But it's my lead. It's my client. Like,
You gotta give up that lead
yeah. So like,
and
You haven't met
accommodate
them
that
in
first
person,
showing
yes,
You
then you
give it
have
up.
to pass it on.
to someone.
Yeah.
But if you've met that person and, you know, you,
Show them.
Because that'd be confusing for the client as well.
Sure.
yes.
You know, the first time they met an agent, they showed them a house and it's, oh, well, you're not actually working with me, you're working with Lance, but Lance was just not able to accommodate you at that time. So that's confusing, you know, we don't wanna confuse it.
and we let them know, like at the buyer consult, especially because we're back in this like crazy market, like I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm your agent, but you know, if I'm booked and there's a hot house that comes up and you want to see it, like I might ask Michaela to step in or Lance to step in just so you don't miss the house. So that way, when that happens, they don't feel passed around or whatever, you know, and that, I mean, we do that often. I mean, our team has always kind of been lean and mean and small and mighty. And I think we're like just a little bit different when it comes to that. And so we kind of just operate different, but yeah, I mean, the leads aren't just a free for all and you can't get leads and not take care of them or not do anything with them. Right. But
I think we have a great culture on our team and it shows in the care that we take of our clients. You know, there's many a times where I need to show houses for Alyssa and she doesn't have to worry that I'm not doing a good job for her client. She knows that I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna take care of her client and I'll, you know, answer all their questions, fill their needs to the best of my ability. And just having that trust amongst all of your team members, it reflects into your clients. They can pick up on it, you know?
so Gina, you be a buyer and you're going to call in to Zillow, you're going to get me and you don't really want to talk much. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, this is Melissa. How are you?
I'm good. I was just calling because I had some questions about this house over on Main Street.
Okay. You have questions. Okay. What questions do you have?
Can you tell me the price?
Sure. It's $1. No, just kidding. I get all those calls. Like it's $150,000. That's what it's listed for.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Did you want to go see it or?
I don't know. I don't know much about it. I just drove past and was curious about the price.
Okay. Are you looking to purchase a house right now or?
Yeah, we probably will. We're hoping to this summer, maybe.
Okay. Do you guys have an agent that you're working with or?
I mean, we've met a couple people at open house, but nothing serious.
Okay. Does the house that you just drove by intrigue you enough to go look at it or is the price too scary for you?
I mean, do you think that people would negotiate in this market? We're really looking around 120.
I mean, we never know until we put an offer in front of somebody, but I'm happy to show you the house. And if you like it, we could certainly try.
Well, let me talk to my husband and see if he wants to see it and then I can get back to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to follow up in a couple hours with you via text, if that's okay, just to see if you guys want to see it.
Perfect.
Okay. And then let's just be a buyer that just wants to set an appointment. Okay. Hey, this is Melissa. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Zillow tells me that you want to see the property at 123 Main Street.
Yeah, I'd love to see it right away if you can.
Okay. Are you hoping for something today or tomorrow?
Yeah, because I hear that houses are selling really quickly, so we're driving around the neighborhood, so as soon as possible would be great.
Okay. Well, we can certainly try to get you into this property today. We'll have to make sure that the house is available and that the sellers will approve the showing. Are you guys free for the whole evening or?
Yep, we can go grab something to eat and stay in the area.
Okay, all right, well, we will try to get something scheduled in the next couple hours, and then if the sellers don't approve the showing for tonight, what time tomorrow works?
We can do in the morning.
Okay, all right, well, we are going to go ahead and get this scheduled, and then when we confirm with you, do you want us to call you back or text?
Text would be great.
Okay, awesome, well then, look to hear from us shortly.
So let me ask, so you already have, because not everybody knows what a Zillow looks like. What information do you have? Because you didn't ask the person's name or anything, but just so to give everyone in the room and on the Zoom, you've already got their name, their email, and their phone number because it's a Zillow lead.
Mm-hmm,
And
So
whatever
you did-
house it was, they were
Correct.
looking
mm-hmm.
at.
When it's something else, when it's something like a Boomtown lead, for example, or something, or a sign call, or those kinds of things, the script is gonna be different.
Mm-hmm. Do
You
you want,
don't have that same content.
we can script it, do you want to script
Yeah,
it?
let's do that. So
Okay,
let's script out a, because most, in particular, new people, they're probably not gonna get Zillow leads.
yep,
And they're gonna be relying on things that are really random people that maybe they've got their number, or they don't have any information, they don't know the person's name, that kind of thing. So I'm driving past your house and I'm calling from the site.
Yep.
Ring, ring.
hey, this is Melissa.
Hi, I'm calling about the house over on Main Street. I was just driving past and saw your for sale sign. Is
Oh.
it still available?
It is, yeah. Do you have questions or would you like to set up a showing?
I kind of just wanted some information about it and then maybe want to see it.
Okay, and in case we get disconnected, is the number that you're calling from ending in 4856 a good callback number?
Yep, that's my cell phone.
Okay, and what was your name?
It's Gina
Gina, what's your last name?
Herrera.
All right. So then I got your name and your phone number, and I'll probably ask for your email later because probably I'm driving or something anyway. And I have a really hard time hearing over the phone, and I'm probably going to text and ask for your
Yeah.
email so I don't screw it up. And then, okay, so what are your questions? We'll go through
Yeah,
that.
just tell me a little about the house, the price, why are they selling? How many bedrooms, how many baths?
Okay, so I just
Yeah.
told you all that information, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm always gonna keep asking, would you like to see it? Like, is this what you're looking for? Is this the kind of house you're looking for? Is this the school district you're trying to, like, depending on where the house is, like, we're in Wayne County, so if it's in Orville, like, this is a school district you want to be in, right? If it's in Worcester, it's probably the school district you want to be in, so.
Yep, that's the area we're looking, we live in the neighborhood and this is a bigger house than ours, so that's why we're interested.
Mhm. Okay, and then I probably would, do you have to sell before you buy?
We don't necessarily have to, but we'd like to.
Okay, and then probably would ask, like, do you have an agent that you're currently working with, or do you know what your house is worth?
Would love to get 250 and no, we're not working with anything.
Okay, all right, so how about we look at this house tonight at 5 o'clock?
Works for me.
Perfect. So like always gonna try to close it, and
Yeah.
and I'm always gonna try to get the appointment set like in a short amount of time as possible. Cause like if I'm like, oh, what day of the week is it right now? If I'm like, oh, do you want to see it Friday at 6? Like so much could happen between, they could go out to dinner tonight and their friend could be like, oh, use my cousin realtor, you know, like I'm gonna want to get them locked in like as quickly as possible with that appointment.
And speaking of sign calls, I get tons of sign calls, with people that are looking to rent. And I always try to convert those into a buyer. You know, well, why are you looking to rent instead of buy? My credit's not there. Well, let me get you in touch with my lender and you might be surprised. There may be something that we can get figured out. And you can instead of renting that house.
So
you
they
can buy it.
think that a house for sale would rent? Is that what they're?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I get them all the
Yeah,
time.
get those
Oh,
calls
yeah,
a lot.
all the time. I had 2 listings in Maple Heights and
Okay.
every sign call I got was for someone looking to rent the house. Everyone. And it was dozens.
Okay.
They all.
I'm not.
But, like, not a lot,
I guess maybe
but-
it's an area thing, but okay.
I'm still gonna try and convert.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, because some people think they have to. Rent's very expensive right now, so,
Mhm.
you know, if you're gonna spend $1,400 on rent, we can maybe get you a mortgage for that.
Oh, yeah, and then typically what I tell them, like, you can probably buy the house cheaper than what you can rent it monthly.
Right.
But people are afraid, oh, well, my credit score's only 600. Okay, well, we can improve that each buyer as low as 580. So,
Right.
When you tried to get her home address, and she mentioned that she had a house, so.
No, I would have stalked her on 401 or looked her up on the Wayne County Auditors.
Knock on her door, just to be prepared when you do meet her at the house, that you have an idea of what her home would be, to do like a listing
I would
appointment.
grab that information from Forewarn after I got off the phone with her, because it does have her home address, and then I would do my own CMA.
Mhm.
But if I'm already seeing her that day at 5
Right.
o'clock, then I just really want to set that appointment. I want to meet her. I want to make sure that we're going to be a good fit. So,
I probably would have, I would have found her address, probably prepped some comps, I would have had something.
Just concentrate on getting them at the house, and not worry about do that later.
Yeah, and like with online leads, like not so much like your Boomtown, but like your Zillow or your Homelight or your Opcity or all of those, they have been through it before they've gotten to you. And so by the time they get to you, they've already answered all the questions. And they're so sick of answering all those questions again. All they want to do is get to the appointment. So just get them to the appointment. Like they've already answered if they've had it, if they have an agent, they've already answered if they have a house, they've already answered if they're pre-approved or not. The only problem is those people aren't sharing that information with us, or if like, and some of the online lead sources like Zillow's the worst at it, but I think Opcity is starting to do this. Like they can go online and click and be like, I want to see this house at 3 o'clock today. And like Alyssa had somebody that was like so mad at her because they thought they were seeing the house at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And she's like, I never even confirmed this appointment with you. Like, I can't control that Zillow let you click that time, but I never confirmed this appointment with you. And so just like by the time they get to you, they're so exhausted. And like some of those Homelight leads and stuff, all they want is a free home valuation of their home and they didn't get it. And now they have 5 agents calling them. Right. And so if you guys haven't caught it from me yet, like I come from a place of humor. And so like, if I'm calling a Homelight lead and I'm like, I know you're probably sick of hearing from us realtors, and I'm sorry that Homelight like just send your number out to all these random realtors and people are blowing your phone up. But like, obviously you want to sell your house or you want a free home value. When do you want me to come out and see your house? Like I try to come from a place of humor with
A lot
people.
of the online lead sources do have some misleading clickbait, just to get people on the line that really don't have any intention. They just saw a commercial on TV. Yeah, I do want to know what my house is worth, right? Next thing you know, they got 10 realtors beating their phone line up to get to them. But I think the most important and crucial part with online leads is getting that initial face-to-face appointment, getting nose to nose with them, building some rapport. And at the end of the day, they don't like change. So once they've met an agent, if they like that agent and they have a connection, they realize they're a human being, they're gonna call you back when they want to see another house. So just get in front of them, build that relationship, make them like you, and they're gonna work with you.
Awesome. Zoom questions?
Do any of you black screens have any questions? See, it's humor. Ha ha ha. I know they couldn't see the slideshow most of the time, but.
Oh, there's a face.
Oh, puppies. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I just want to not be a black screen.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Those are my background puppies. I got a few more.
Hi,
No,
puppies.
thank you.
Yep.
That's all. I didn't want to be a black screen anymore. Bye.
Bye. The other people aren't really there. They must be like, have to do this for. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. All right, they're not talking, so I'm just a shut.